I'm a big fan of body scans, so that's what we're gonna do today, if that's okay with you. Um, so why don't you guys begin by making yourself comfortable. Sit in a chair, allow your back to be straight, but not stiff, with your feet on the ground. Your hands can be resting gently in your lap or at your side, and allow your eyes to close, or if you'd like them to remain open, just shift to having a soft gaze. Okay, go ahead and take several long, slow, deep breaths, beginning in fully and exhaling slowly. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth, and feel your stomach expand on the inhale, and relax and let go as you exhale. Begin to let the noises around you drift off and shift your attention from outside of yourself to inside yourself. If you're distracted by sounds in the room, that's okay. Just simply notice them and bring your focus back to your breathing and your inhale and your exhale. Now slowly bring your attention down to your feet. Begin observing the sensations in the bottoms of your feet. You might want to wiggle your toes just a little, feeling your toes against your socks or your shoes or the ground. Just notice without judgment. You might imagine sending your breath down to your feet, as if the breath is traveling through the nose and the lungs, through the abdomen, all the way down to your feet. And then back up again through your nose and lungs. Perhaps you don't feel anything at all, and that's okay too. Just allow yourself to feel the sensation of not feeling anything. Breathe in and out. When you're ready, allow your feet to dissolve in your mind's eye and move your attention up to your ankles, calves, knees, and thighs. Observe the sensations you're experiencing throughout your legs. Breathe in and breathe out of the legs. If your mind begins to wander during this, gently notice without judgment and bring your mind back to noticing the sensations in your legs. If you notice any discomfort, pain, or stiffness, don't attach judgment to this, just notice it. Observe how all sensations rise, fall, shift, and change moment to moment. Notice how no sensation is permanent. Just observe and allow them to be in the moment just as they are. Breathe in and out from the legs. On the next breath, allow the legs to dissolve in your mind and move your sensations to your lower back and pelvis, softening and releasing as you breathe in and out. Slowly move your attention to your mid-back and upper back. Become curious about the sensations you feel here. You may become aware of muscles, temperature, or points of contact with furniture. With each out-breath, you may let go of the tension you're carrying. And then gently shift your focus to your stomach and all your internal organs that rest there. Perhaps you notice the feeling of close, the process of digestion, or the belly rising and falling with each breath. If you notice opinions arising about these areas, gently let them go and return to noticing sensations. As you continue to breathe in and out, bring your awareness to the chest and heart region and notice your heartbeat. Observe how the chest rises during the inhale and falls during the exhale. Let go of any judgments that may arise here. On your next out breath, shift the focus to your hands and fingertips. See if you can channel your breathing in and out of this area as if you're breathing in and out from your hands. If your mind wanders, gently bring it back to the sensations in your hands. Breathe in and out. On the next out breath, shift the focus to bring awareness to your arms. Observe the sensations or lack of sensations that may be occurring here. You might notice some difference between the left arm and the right arm. No need to judge this. As you exhale, you may experience the arms soften and release tensions. Continue to breathe and shift your focus to your neck, shoulders, and throat. This is an area we often hold tension. Be with your sensations here. It could be tightness, rigidity, or holding. You may notice the shoulders moving along with the breath. Let go of any thoughts or stories you're telling about this area. As you breathe, you may feel the tension rolling off your shoulders. Breathe in and out. On the next out breath, shift your focus and direct your attention to the scalp, head, and face. Observe all the sensations occurring there. Notice the movement of the air as you breathe into or out of the nostrils or mouth. As you exhale, you might notice the softening of any tensions you may be holding. And now let your attention expand out to include the entire body as a whole. Bring into your awareness the top of your head down to the bottom of your toes. Feel the gentle rhythm of the breath as it moves through the body. Take a full, deep breath, taking in all the energy of this meditation. Now exhale fully. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes and return to the moment. So this is what I'm sharing with you today is just a brief. It's a very brief introduction to core reflection. Anu, you're going to get a much deeper, fuller experience when you take the class at SOU, I'm sure. But what I'll be sharing today is essentially the parts of core reflection that I use on a day-to-day basis with myself personally, and also when interacting with people, especially in times of conflict or in moments where there's some tension that I don't like, because I'm a conflict avoider. And core reflection has given me some tools to kind of work myself through more difficult situations. So if ever you have any questions, go ahead and interrupt. We have a couple of I have a couple of reflective questions in here for you, and also some interaction call out things. So hopefully it'll be fairly engaging. We did this. Okay, so this is the first text on core reflection that I was ever introduced to. This is a book entitled Teaching and Learning from Within. And it's by Fred Korthagen, Young Hee Kim, the very one that's in this in this call today, and William Green. And this is Fred Korthagen here on the screen. And I've read this book many times, and every time I read it, I find something different to gain. So what is core reflection? Core reflection is an approach to developing the human potential in teaching and learning. It offers a way to reflect on what's happening in the moment of the event happening. Its central focus is on people's individual strengths and ways to draw upon these strengths, which is an incredibly positive way to use it with students. Core reflection answers the call for a new educational approach that serves every person involved in education in every facet of education. And Dr. Stanley, the professor that I brought it to here at Eastman, and I came up with this quick little phrase. Core reflection offers purposeful, thoughtful efforts to enhance one's personal teaching practice in the moment. So when we do these talks with students who are doing like pre-student teaching or in their student teaching semester or in education, we talk about its uses for dissolving conflict or processing emotions in the moment rather than after. So how does core reflection accomplish that? It provides us tools to overcome the internal obstacles and limitations that block our ability to see multiple possibilities in ourselves and in our circumstances. I don't know how many of you have ever had a situation where something is said to you or you're in a moment and you just freeze and you're not able to think or respond, or you feel like if you do, you're going to say something wrong. That happens to me more often than I care to admit. Yeah, and when I started using core reflection, I realized that it brings it back to my core qualities and my core of the core of who I am and what makes me a passionate teacher or a passionate person or a kind, nurturing, loving person. And I'm able to draw on these strengths, and it's grounding. It's very grounding in a way. So core reflection draws on yours and the people around you core qualities. So these are qualities that every person possesses that contribute to their character or who they are as a person. And this is a not complete list of core qualities that you may notice in yourself or you may notice in the people around you. One of the distinctions that was made in a workshop I took with Fred Korthagen is the difference between core qualities and competencies. So I can say that I'm a talented violinist, but that's actually not a quality. I have qualities that helped me become that, which are passion, dedication, creativity, those root qualities that helped me get the skill. But these core qualities, when identified in yourself or when identified in other people, can be really powerful. One of the things I like to do is when I meet a new class at the beginning of the year, in my first couple interactions with a student, I like to try to identify their core qualities, because you can most of the time. In those genuine, like, beginning interactions with someone, you can tell what kind of person they are. And it's kind of a fun game I like to play at the beginning of the school year. Fred Korthagen also said this to our class when I took a workshop with him: "You were born in possession of all the core qualities, and some of them may have just fallen out of practice." So as a baby, when you're born, you've all seen a baby. You've all seen a brand new baby, and they just look so pure and perfect and naive and beautiful, and they have all of the core qualities. And then as they grow into people, some of them are used more and some of them are used less. But they're still there. They're just percolating under the surface. So this is a encouraging statement that I always like to remember. I sometimes struggle with vulnerability. That's a hard quality for me to lean on. I don't like being vulnerable. It's hard. It's scary. But I try to be vulnerable at least once a day. And in that way, I'm practicing it. I'm trying to be better. Okay, so I would like us to do a quick reflection activity. You can do this on a blank document on your device or on a piece of paper. I just want you to answer each of these two questions in a complete sentence, in one sentence. And this is just for you. We're not going to share these. This is just a personal reflective. Okay, so you can continue writing, but I'm going to move on just in the interest of time. So I mentioned before that I like to meet new students and try to identify their core qualities right off the bat. So I thought we could try that together. So if everyone wants to go ahead and unmute, I'm going to show you various pictures of people doing things that just doing everyday random things. And I would like you to call out what you feel their core qualities may be. Um, or if you're more comfortable, you can put it in the chat. I'll have the chat open, so um, we can do it that way also. You ready? Is everyone ready? I love this. Okay. Here's the first picture.
Creativity.
Hmm.
Curiosity.
Curiosity, love it.
Did you mention playfulness? Let's see.
Playfulness.
Focus.
Focus, yeah. These are all really good.
Oh, spontaneity.
Spontaneity,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. All right, let's look at the next picture.
Caring.
Caring, yes.
Genuineness.
Genuine, yeah.
Passion.
Passion. I see kindness also.
Yeah. Sensitivity.
Sensitivity. Beautiful. Here's our next picture.
Joyfulness.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Yoonhee.
Joy.
What did you say, Andrea? Sorry.
Joy.
Joy, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I see passion also in this picture. I don't know. All right, next picture.
Curiosity.
Curiosity, I like that one.
Hardworking.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
Can old-fashioned be a core quality?
Old-fashioned. Perhaps.
But just because not very many people drive that tractor's like 1930s or 40s tractor.
Dedication, maybe.
To the past. Dedication to the past.
Dedication to the
I
past.
mean, do they still make tractors like that?
I don't think so. All right, next picture.
Precision.
Precision.
Sensitivity to music and people.
Passion. Focus.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have one more picture. Yes, we do.
Attentiveness.
Hmm.
Love. It's a relation, can we say love, loving relationship or respect coming from Haley's eyes to uncle.
This is a picture of me and my brother and my uncle, Dr. Green. Yes. Good. How did that activity feel for you? Was that hard to think of, to guess people's core qualities? Was it puzzling? Were your ideas similar to what you heard other people say? What do you think?
At first, I was trying to find them on the list,
Oh, I'm
and
sorry. I should have put up a list on the side.
and then I just wanted to say a lot. There's a lot to say about every picture, but I was trying to be limiting. So um, there's a lot to say about all the pictures you posted.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to find the word.
Yeah.
And I even like went onto my phone real quick to look up a list of core qualities because I was like, I need help with words. But something also about when I really just took a moment to look at the picture and like the one of the conductor and seeing their eyes and their energy and feeling that. Sometimes it's like I don't need the word, but I can connect to how that person might be in that moment and feel what they might be feeling. And so that helped a lot.
Yeah. I always wonder when I do this activity if we could have a short conversation with each of the people in the picture, if that would influence
Mhm.
core qualities that we label them with.
I mean, there was so much going on at that last picture of the family. You know, the attentiveness of the children, or the respect, looking up at the older person, and there was just a lot going on. Made me feel good to see that picture. In
Oh,
other
good.
words, yeah.
Yeah.
I I was struck by how carefully you chose the photos so that the facial expressions showed so much, yet each photo did show something different. And to start to realize how much we can see of different types of engagement and qualities of a person just by looking at their face and their environment. But yeah, that's lovely.
Thank you. Thank you all for sharing. Okay, so now we're going to take a moment to go back to what you wrote about bringing the best out of others and the best out of yourself. And I would like you to, if you wrote it on a piece of paper, you can circle it. If you wrote it on a device, sometimes it's easier to highlight. Key words or phrases in your 2 sentences that might indicate what your core qualities are. Would anyone like to share? I told you this was not for sharing, so if you don't want to, that's fine. But I just thought sometimes it feels good to share what you feel your core qualities are.
Maybe I can share. One was my attentiveness, um, by listening to, giving attention to my students. And the other one is giving myself.
Thank you, Young Hee. I see both of those in you.
Thank you.
I can
Okay.
share.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, Robin.
I had listens with an open heart,
Hmm.
and then also grace and balance. That's kind of ironic given my current situation, but I just now saw the irony.
Well, I wrote supportive, respectful, and empathic.
Those are very strong qualities. So we have 2 choices. I can continue. I over prepared, I think, for this. So I have more slides we can continue into core reflection, or we can come back a little bit and have a little bit of a discussion for the last 20 minutes. It's up to you.
I'm curious, and maybe this will help decide where we go. But one of my curiosities coming into this, because I haven't taken a course on core reflection and what does that mean in terms of like what does that look like? Or you said you had some stories, because I know what reflection is, and I've probably done a lot of that in what my various experiences, but like this particular approach, there's something unique about it, or how do you do it?
Thank you. Yes. So I'm gonna keep going because I do answer that question in the next thing that we talk about. So one of the ways that core reflection uses your core qualities in a reflective way is by using the elevator levels. And that's a way to kind of categorize your feelings and thoughts. And there's three different levels. There's thinking, feeling, and wanting. So when you're in a moment of reflection or even conflict, and words are being said to you and you're not quite sure how to process them, kind of categorizing them as, I'm receiving all of this information and this is what I think about it, and this is what I feel about it, and this is how I want to respond, or this is what I want to say, or this is what I want the outcome of this situation to be, is kind of a way to use core reflection in the moment. And using it in the moment, I'll tell my story because I think that might help clear things up. So in my first year of teaching, I was teaching piano class, which was a class for multiple levels of students playing piano. And I'd never taught piano before. I've played piano, but I've never taught it. And so I was given a curriculum and I kind of made it my own in my first year. And the students were working towards their final concert. It was towards the end of the year. And there was a boy who was graduating. He was a senior. And it was the last, I think, 2 weeks before the end of the school year. And he stood up in the beginning of class and he said, I don't know what the point of this class is. I am not sure what you're teaching. I'm not getting anything from it. The other teacher who taught it before you was better, and I'm not really sure why I'm here. And as a first year teacher hearing those words, I had no idea what to do. I was completely floored. I had a wave of emotions, many different emotions, good, bad, all of them. And I had been using core reflection intermittently with other interactions with people, and I had in my ID badge, I had the elevator levels and these questions on the screen that you see in front of you in my ID badge. And I picked it up and I was leaning against the piano and I looked at it and I paused and I thought through what was happening, because when I heard him say that, I had a wave of emotions and then my body reacted. I got tense, my neck got tight, my head started to hurt, and I was like fight or flight almost in receiving those words. But I thought, the student has something some need that hasn't been met from this class. And they're trying to share it, but they're not doing the best job at sharing it, but they're doing what they can to tell me about it. So I took in their words and I first thought, okay, I'm feeling upset, sad, embarrassed because it was in front of the rest of the class. Like questioning, I was questioning like where his words were coming from and what the purpose was. And then I was feeling anxious. My heart rate was faster than it usually is. I was starting to feel warm and like I'm fight or flighting, And the last elevator level is wanting. And so I took that as, what do I want? How do I want to respond? Because there's different ways you can respond in a situation like that. And I decided that I wanted to wait a little bit and give that silence before I said anything. And I wanted to make sure that he had an open line of communication to continue expressing his feelings to me in a productive way. So my response to him, and it was over 10 years ago now at this point, so I can't really remember exactly what I said, but I think it was along the lines of, I'm really sorry that you feel this way. Why don't you send me an email with your questions or the things that you'd like to accomplish before the end of the year, and I can do my best to work with you about that. And then I moved on. I think if I hadn't had a kind of structured thought protocol for that response, I may have responded in anger or in kind of shock. And I'm very aware of you know, making sure I don't send emails when I'm feeling any kind of strong emotions. But being able to think through those elevator levels of, you know, what am I thinking about what's happening? What am I feeling right now? And what do I want? How do I want to respond? What do I want to say? What do I want the outcome of this present situation to be? It really gave me focus. And I think that's one of the really strong qualities of core reflection is its ability to be used in the moment. One of the things that is also very important is the idea that it's okay to have emotions. It's okay that my first emotion was anger and then followed by sadness and all of the other emotions. Don't judge them. Just like the meditation that we did at the beginning of this session, don't attach judgment to the things that you're feeling or the emotions that you're having. It's not the emotions themselves that are negative. It's how you react or respond to them that can be negative if not thought through properly. So always acknowledge your emotions. They're okay. They're there for a reason. You have emotions for a reason. Keeping judgment out of it. Categorizing your thoughts or your feelings as, is this coming from my brain? Is this something that I'm thinking? Is this something that I'm feeling? And then what do I want? What do I want this to look like? What you want from the situation can also be called your ideal. So another way to use core reflection is more like a one-on-one, like walking through a conflict situation and thinking about, you know, your limiting beliefs or any obstacles that you may face. And it's more of a, I hesitate to say the word therapy, but it's almost like it's a process of having somebody walk you through the levels of core reflection. I don't know if any of you have heard of Tom Browning. He's currently teaching out in Nevada, but his dissertation was on core reflection in this way, like a one-on-one, talking through conflict, moving from space to space and thinking about your obstacles and your limiting beliefs, and your core qualities and how you can use your core qualities to impact a situation. The way that I use it generally, because I don't have somebody who I can regularly rely on to walk me through the levels of core reflection, is this way. And just, you know, having that reminder right there hanging around my neck, and being able to call upon, you know, what I know my core qualities are in times of stress or high energy or, you know, conflict or an uncomfortable situation. So your ideal is your yearning or your desired outcome. And so you can follow the elevator levels through how you currently feel. And you can ask yourself, what's my ideal? Or what do I want? Could be for a personal situation, a lesson, an interaction. And then you follow the elevator levels through thinking, feeling, and wanting to reach your ideal. And then you can determine what core qualities you need to utilize to help your ideal become real. So many times as teachers, we're asked to reflect on things that happened weeks ago. So like I'll be observed by my principal, and then 2 weeks later I'll have a post-observation meeting where they'll ask me to reflect on the lesson that I taught 2 weeks ago. And sometimes it's really, really hard to remember exactly what happened or what was going on in your head during that lesson. So core reflection is a way for you to do that while it's actually happening. Does that answer your question, Andrea? A little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. And so this is something that can be used by teachers themselves and then also with students.
Yeah, so I leads me to my next little thing I'd like to share with you. I actually did a study with students in the first teaching placement that I was in. And I introduced them at the beginning of the year. This was after that situation with that student who graduated. This was the following school year. I introduced them to the ideas of core reflection in terms of core qualities. Kind of the way I started this presentation. We did identifying people's core qualities. And throughout the year, I would kind of throw in, you know, the elevator levels, and then we'd talk about them for a couple weeks. And it became, you know, students would come into the classroom and they would come in and say, oh my gosh, can we please talk through the situation I have with this teacher? It's really making me angry, and can we talk through it? So then we would, as a class, we would talk through, you know, well, what are the core qualities of the teacher? Oh, I don't know. They're mean. Well, no, everybody has positive qualities. Think really hard about their positive core qualities. What makes them good at what they do? And kind of helping shift their mindset from, you know, the teachers are out to get them, or their friends are angry at them, or whatever, into interactions between people. And throughout the year, I noticed that the students would start to identify their qualities of their friends on their own without me having to do it. And then at the end of the year, we did a survey and interviews with the students that really felt passionately about core reflection. And this was their reaction to that. Let me know if you can't hear it.
I think core reflection means to me the positive qualities that you have that you try to bring out even when it's not easy to.
It's looking inside of yourself to see how you can change your reaction to a situation instead of just getting upset at the situation that's unfolding around you. I think the most helpful thing is like self-focus, because a lot of people, they just complain and they don't think about how they themselves fit into the equation. And that's, I don't know, it's good to see, to step back and realize that, like, yes, I am part of this and I also affect this.
In going into college or a new job setting, you're going to meet a lot of different people and be exposed to a lot of stressful situations. I think it's helpful to see the positives in those. Yeah, I definitely would. I think it would definitely release a lot of tensions, especially in high school. Obviously, high school is a stressful time, and people get worked up about the little things, and I think core reflections helps you focus on what's actually really important. Yes, I would, because I think that teachers and other students have a much more profound effect on each other than we think. And if just like a few people started doing it and just started being more positive and more open, I think it would have a large effect on the rest of the community. Yeah, I do that with a lot of adults that I meet, whether it's in lessons or like on teams. I do that with my coaches a lot, and I just appreciate my time with them so much more when I acknowledge all of their positive qualities.
Okay. I'm sorry I took so long to talk about core reflection. But if anyone would like to share reactions or questions or thoughts or feelings, I would love to hear your ideas, thoughts.
Drawing on how you briefly mentioned that it is similar to kind of having a therapist with you, I found that it is really similar to cognitive behavioral therapy. And so I think I connected to a lot of especially the prompts and the questions, because it reminded me of that strategy. And it's something that usually works really well for me personally. So I was really curious to kind of compare and contrast, those questions that I may ask myself in those stressful situations and these questions that kind of frame it in a whole new different way.
That's so interesting. Thank you. I don't know much about cognitive behavioral therapy, but I'll definitely have to look into that.
I really appreciated the examples you gave, especially that first example. It just really struck me as as teachers, we get into very difficult situations where kids blurt out things that are incredibly rude. And we have to face that in a sensitive way without pushing back and sometimes anger is what the example you gave, I just could feel anger. I was just like, "Arr." and how to deal with it in the moment. That was just a beautiful example. Yeah, could I just add an example?
Absolutely.
Not my own example. I'm learning it from all the colleagues all around me. I've observed William's class for a whole term, and I observed, I won't say her name, but she came into my house when I had to give one of my classes to her because I could no longer teach. And it was a very difficult time. And she very, very gently took me through the elevator about how did I feel about having to stop teaching. And it was incredible because of the way she held the space for me. She first asks those 3 questions. What do you think about this situation? How do you feel about this situation? She said, what's your desired outcome, I think is what she said. And then she says, now what's blocking you from moving in that direction? What's blocking? And she asks me my obstacles. And then she asks that 5th question. And that was the one that blew me away and got me crying, but crying was good at that moment. Is what are your core qualities that will help you overcome those obstacles? Mm. And I have to say that was way back in October, and I'm still using that as a technique. And as I heard her do those to me, I started to review it in my head a lot and say, I want to be the kind of person that can help another person in the way that she helped me that day.
Yeah.
Because she was being herself, and she was fully teacher, retired teacher. And she knew how to facilitate core reflection. And it wasn't counseling, but it was like that, just step away from being who I needed in that moment. It's so powerful.
That's an excellent example, Robin. Thank you so much. I love that. And that's I would love to have somebody around who can do that with me, but I don't. So, when you have to do it when you do it with yourself, it's a little bit different. It's harder, actually, I think. But it can be equally as astounding at times, just to stop and interrupt your maybe negative line of thinking in that moment and shift to thinking about the positive.
Yeah, and I think it goes beyond strengths-based education. I still have to read all of the book. I haven't read the whole book yet, I have to admit. But it goes beyond strengths-based because it's not about looking at the positive. It's about looking at the situation in the moment, which to me has a more honest rawness. It has a rawness and vulnerability. Whenever you do it, you're practicing vulnerability too.
Yeah. I also think that, the fact that you're still learning from that is huge. You're still thinking about that experience with the person who walked you through the levels, and it's still touching. And that's really special.
Young, he said earlier, we're still learning about holistic education. And I think I just had a little mini epiphany to understand just a little bit more about what we're up to when we say we're holistic educators and this is what we're doing. And when you describe this practice, you're a music educator, but what you're doing is so much more. You're looking at the whole person and doing this work with students that I imagine a lot of music educators would not maybe even be interested in doing. I say that's not part of my job. My job is to teach notes and how to read music, and so I just these little moments of yeah, that's what it's about. It's about taking that time and realizing how important this is for our students if we want to help them grow and learn, and this is just a huge part of that. And how it's not just for the students, it's for us as humans and teachers, and how it's for Robin, and all of us need this practice. And as we start to do this as a collaborative community, just the impact that can have on our well-being, where we start to see the good and the beautiful and the true in ourselves and those around us. I mean, that's amazing. So thank you for that reminder of what we're up to, and this amazing practice that, yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, and what you just said, holistic education, whether it's at a holistic school or at a public school with just somebody teaching holistically, it creates community and it creates connection between students, which is always a good thing, and also with adults and students. And I think that that's something, especially in public education, that kids don't always feel like they have a trusted adult that they can go to. And that's something that I've found in my current teaching position, is that I have kids that come to me for relationship problems and parental question, like so many, just like most of what I do is talking to students, not always about music, but just being there for them. And that's my passion.
I think that makes people, I mean, especially our students, to, believe in themselves so that they can actually play the music better, because they feel the connectedness within, and looking for positives in them and also others. I really loved listening to your students, and just this is like a ripple effect. It goes far beyond, and they will see others with their strength and understand better. And I think we just need more of this. I know we're maybe about out of time, but Haley, I was curious about your dissertation research. Just maybe like in 2 minutes, could you?
Oh, unfortunately, I wasn't allowed to do my core reflection dissertation topic. My department said no, so I had to shift. But I did a survey study of high school seniors' music making experiences, and I was particularly interested in if there were any students who actively participate in music outside of school but not in school, and if that's the case, where are they making music? Are they doing it with their family, or are they doing it at church or at a place of worship or community school? I am a qualitative researcher down to my tips of my toes. That's my love, is feelings and talking, and doing a quantitative numbers study was really hard for me, because I didn't actually get to talk to any of the students. But yeah, that was my topic.
Okay, I'm sorry, I just have to ask. They didn't allow you to do mixed methods even?
Well, so I had prepared a proposal about using core reflection with students who are learning musical improvisation, because that's a really, really tough thing for kids to learn, especially in high school, when being vulnerable is really hard and making mistakes is hard. So I had a whole proposal written, and my departments didn't want me to do it. They know that I'm really passionate about holistic education, and I think they were trying to like steer me in doing just a music ed study. So, and then because I taught full time through most of my PhD. So my advisor, rightfully so, he was like, doing a qualitative study, you're going to have to take time off school to go interview people. Like, you know, if you need to interview kids during the school day, that's going to be hard. And, you know, he was right. Looking back, he was right. That would have been tough. But yeah.
Well, I hope you can do some of the qualitative stuff that you love from here out. Because even in little fragments, just to study core reflection, I think it's really, I can see it's your passion, and it's so important in the world right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. I plan on it. I'm taking a little hiatus from research just for the summer, and then gonna do a, you know, maybe a couple literature reviews and get back into, you know, that higher level thinking. But thank you all so much for being here and for being so pleasant and supportive and caring and passionate for holistic education.
Thank you.
Thank you, Haley.
Thank you.
Have a great night.
See y'all soon.